In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a chart widget in Emdash. It'll look something like this. You can show like a little description, and when you hover over these sections, it'll tell you how many posts are in each category. The first thing you want to do is create a new Emdash project. You can do that by running bun create Emdash at latest. And when you do that, it'll run you through the setup. So I'm going to do one called hello chart, and then I'm going to choose Cloudflare workers, and I'm going to use the blog starter template, and I'm going to use bun, and I'm going to install dependencies. Okay, now that that's done, you want to open that up in your favorite editor. I'm going to use Z. Now you want to run bun run dev, and that's going to run on a new port 4321. And you can ignore the errors. Okay, once that's loaded, you can click create post, and that's going to bring you to the admin setup. Alright, so we'll call this hello chart blog, and we'll include sample content, and we'll do email. And set up a passkey. And then you sign in with the passkey. Okay, you'll scroll down and you can see the plugins on the left, and you'll see that one is already installed, Emdash Forms plugin, but we want to add a custom plugin. So to do that, you want to start by creating a new plugin in the plugins folder. You want to come in here and make a new folder. I'm going to call it plugins/hello chart plugin. And then I'm going to open a new terminal. I'm going to cd into that. And then I'm going to init a new bun repo. Alright, from here there's a couple things you want to put in your package JSON. I'm going to copy and paste it in here and kind of go over it. Okay, so there's an exports section, and you want to reference the files that you're going to be exporting. So I'm going to be exporting types and the entry point for the sandbox. So this index file is also needed. That's kind of how it reads what your plugin name is and stuff. And then the sandbox entry is where all your plugin logic goes. And then for scripts, there's a build script that runs ts down. That's a bundler. And then you want to also add one for ts down watch. Alright, now you want to go back to the main project, and you want to edit the package JSON file, and you're going to create a workspace. And then you're going to set this to plugins. And you want to go down to dependencies and type in hello chart plugin, and then you want to type in workspace star. Now you just want to run bun install. Now you want to go back to the plugin and you want to add a peer dependency for Emdash. And you want to add the dev dependencies that are required. Next, you want to make a file for tsdown. It's going to be tsdown.config.ts. And you want to paste that in. So basically, it just tells you what the entry points are, the format to use, which is ESM, and whether or not to create data types, whether or not to clean the build folder every time you rebuild. And then you also want to specify that you do not include Emdash into the bundle. Alright, so you want to click save. Next, you want to create a source folder, and then inside that source folder, you want to create index.ts. And I'm going to copy and paste in some stuff here, and then I'm going to import the type for plugin descriptor. So the ID is a unique ID for your plugin. The version number is whatever version you're on. There's format is either standard or I can't remember what the other one is. Standard or native. You want to choose standard because that's what is needed for sandbox plugins. Then you give it an entry point, and that's going to be the name of your package. So I think I name mine Hello Chart plugin, so I need to change that. And then admin widgets, you want this is going to define a widget on the dashboard. It'll put a blank widget there, and then later we'll go in and define the UI for that widget. So you need to have an ID for your widget, so hello chart, and then you can give it a title. The title will just appear at the top of the widget, and then you want to choose a size. You can do full, half, or third. I'm just going to do half. Next, you want to create a sandbox entry file. And this is where you're going to define your plugin. Alright, so what we have here is we just have a routes section, and inside the routes we're going to add an admin route, and then we'll add a handler for the admin route. And the handler will take in the route context and plugin context. And so we want to create a new type for route context. It's because route context input is unknown. So you can expect the type, page, action ID, and value to be there. And then, so we're just going to go ahead and log it. Alright, now we need to add the plugin to the main package. So before we do that, we need to run dev to build our index and sandbox entry files. And then now we need to go to astroconfig.mjs, and that's in our main project. And we need to add the plugin. So I think it's hello chart plugin, and you just call it there. And I'm not putting in the sandbox area because as of right now the sandbox does not work because it's an early release of Emdash. Alright, so now we should be able to go back to the main project and run dev. And you'll see that it's starting up. And there should be logs that appear. It'll take a second. Okay, now that that's done, you should be able to see the log come through. I might have to scroll up a little bit. So it should look something like this. It'll say hello admin, and then page load for the type, and then widget hello chart for the page. But before we continue, you might need to go back to the index.js file and add an entry point for sandbox here, and that should solve a bug that says that hooks is not defined or something like that. Anyways, so now we have our log. It's time to add an if statement, and we basically need to render out the UI based on the type of the interaction. So then we'll check if the page is widget hello chart. Alright, so I'm going to copy in some more code. We're going to have a function called build chart widget, and it's going to take in the plugin context as an argument. So I'm just going to stick this up here. And then the type that it returns is this block response type, and that comes from one of the packages we installed. Alright, so now that that's saved, and that's down here in the if statement, we should see the chart come through. Or not the chart come through, but we should see the text come through. And then real quick, just before I show you how to do the chart, if you want to see how to do different types of blocks, you can just use autocomplete, and it'll tell you all the different types that you can use. And when you choose a different type, such as chart, it'll tell you that you're not using the right parameters. So it looks like it's looking for a property called config, which we don't have yet. Alright, so let me copy and paste the chart in. So here's what the chart looks like. It has a type of config. It's a custom chart. It's a pie chart, and then here's the data series. And so now if we go back to the browser, you'll see that the widget now has a pie chart. So that's all for this video. If you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more Emdash content, leave a comment of what I should do next. And thanks for watching.